Hello, welcome to another video from EarnPed.com. I am Stevie B. Happy to have you all with me today as I am here on Planet Calypso. Let's get some sips to get this started off right. So I am back at it hunting fowl. That's right. After the past couple of weeks, I've been in a little bit of a funk, probably the past 2 weeks, trying to figure out what is the best thing I can be doing in-game right now. Where should I be in the universe, given the events that we have coming up, given the things that I'm trying to accomplish in-game. And we started the video off with a global today. Not bad. I think that was my second kill out the gate. So, given everything that I have to do in-game, the question I was asking myself is, what is it that I can do right now that best helps me meet all of my goals and prepare for the things that I'm going to be doing in the very near future? And after doing a little bit of experimentation, after doing some research and trying to kind of mesh this out, the simple solution was just to come hunt me some good old fowl, work on my second codex repeat, and bang out some content for you guys. So that's what I'm doing. And today I want to announce that we are going to be having Summer Migration 2023. The annual migration is going to be starting, and we now have an official launch date. It's going to be starting on June 21st, 2023. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, is the annual Eomon migration. I call it Eomon, E-O-M-O-N. If there's a better way to pronounce it, I don't know what it is. But it's the annual migration event, and last year I boycotted it. This year I will not be boycotting it. I will be taking part. So I want to tell you guys a little bit about why that is and what we can expect out of it moving forward, because this is a pretty long event. They're launching it June 21st, 2023. They say it's going to go all summer. I'm expecting it to go well into August. I think they're going to let it go through the end of June, all of July, and well into August, and possibly even as late as early September. I don't know exactly when it's going to end yet, but I think they're going to try and make it last a little bit longer than last year. So, first of all, let's back up and let's start with, why did I boycott the 2022 summer migration? So, every year we have migration. Every year it's in the summer, and every year it's the same thing. Eomon come out. It's the only time you can hunt them year-round. There's no other way to get them. There's no other way to see them. There's no natural spawn of them. And they make their way across the continent of Eurodia, which is this continent. When you hit M on the map, this is Eurodia right here. So every year everybody wants to hunt these things because they drop some of the rarest loot in the entire game. I'll give you some examples. Improved shadow armor is a huge example, but the big one, the big daddy of them all, is modified shadow armor. Mod shadow unlimited armor for a long time was said to never be in the hands of the players. We were told it was going to be something that would only be used by official avatars for testing the game. And then it started dropping from Eomon a few years later. And it is ridiculously expensive. I'm talking 25 to 35,000 ped per piece. So $2,500 to $3,500 per piece. And remember, there's 7 pieces to a complete outfit. It is very expensive armor, very good armor. It's one of the best, if not the best armors in the game, arguably. So because of that, because of the fact that there's all this stuff that drops, and it's not just armor, there's all kinds of weapons that drop. It's really some insane unlimited gear that drops. That's why people go after it. Here's the downside. A, these things are extremely large. I believe the smallest one has something like 5,000 HP, and I believe it's level 50. And they hit like a tank. It's really not possible for most people to hunt them without having a healer for hire right behind them, fapping them with a mod 2600, which is one of the reasons that healing for hire is so big during migration. And the other thing is, because of the way variance is, it would be enough of a ped drain as it is if that was it. But migration is specifically designed to reduce the balance of liabilities that MindArk has. So it's specifically designed to drain your ped card, kind of like the shared loot events. It's not necessarily designed to function in the exact same way that everything else would normally function. So be fully prepared that you better have a freakishly large ped card if you're going to go after those large Eomon. And on top of that, you better have a lot of luck with you. I will put it this way. I knew a guy who, 2 years ago, he had the Great Argonaut Claw FEN. He had been making money hand over fist via markup, not via TT returns, via markup, pretty religiously all year. He was doing amazing. He was killing it. He was a prime example of the game works. And this guy tried to cycle as much as he possibly could. And he decided he was going to go after Eomon with his Great Argonaut Claw FEN. And he was going to go hard in the paint. And that's exactly what he did. And it literally destroyed his ped card to the point that he rage quit. Sold off his armor, sold off the Great Argonaut Claw, chipped out, and quit the game. And I don't know if he ever ended up coming back. I don't know if he stayed away. But it was really sad to see. I encouraged him. I said, man, you've been going at it so much, and you've been doing so good. I really hate to see you leave the game just because you're upset because variants went against you and it drained your ped card. You know that's what it's designed to do. I'm sorry, guys. My allergies are killing me today, so I'm a little bit stuffy. Got a little bit of a cough, too. Trying not to get sick. So it can be dangerous financially if you're not fully prepared. And this was somebody, he was not hunting above his weight class. He was, I would say, properly equipped and properly skilled to be hunting these creatures. And it went that bad. So imagine how bad it can go if you are punching above your weight class and you're not ready or able to really hunt these things efficiently. So for that reason and more, as much as I would love to hunt them and take a chance at getting some of those super rare unlimited items, I'm going to be staying completely away from them. I might, once I've unlocked quickness, do one just for fun, but you won't see me grinding them out one after another. Now the good news is for the rest of us, there are Longtooth, which essentially, according to the wiki, according to the lore, a Longtooth is a larger, more adult version of an exosaur, like what we would see at North Swamp Camp, but a smaller, not yet fully matured version of an Eomon, something like that. I don't really get into lore much, but essentially, Longtooth are somehow related to exosaur. So, Longtooth are what most players stick with during migration. And that's fine. The adolescents are level 4. They're fairly easy to find. They've only got like 400 HP. They're pretty fun. And then once you get into the young have like 1300 HP and it goes up from there. And then they have some really big ones called Old Fred that are like level 400-ish that are shared loot that it takes quite a few people to take down. That can be kind of fun, but again, shared loot equals ped drain most of the time. So I actually did a couple of summer migrations focusing on Longtooth, and I had a great time doing it. But then I had to boycott Migration 2022. So why is it I was boycotting Summer Migration 2022, but I will be partaking this year? Well, in Summer 2022, right before Migration, we were expecting a Summer Mayhem, and they just dropped it on us out of nowhere via a random comment on the forum. They were like, oh yeah, we're just not doing Summer Mayhem anymore. No official announcement, no letting us know ahead of time. We had spent time gearing up for Summer Mayhem, getting pills, investing a lot of money. I had already paid a fee for a rental and reserved a weapon through a rental service, and then they just kind of were like, yeah, we're not doing Summer Mayhem, which was a pretty crappy move, I'm not going to lie. And it really ticked a lot of people off, myself included. And when they did that, that was kind of weird. When they did that, the reason I boycotted Migration was not because of the way that they did the whole Summer Mayhem thing. It was crappy, but that wasn't it. The problem was when they canceled Summer Mayhem, that meant no Summer Strongboxes. Now, they could have created Summer Strongboxes for Migration, but they did not. They could have. They didn't. And this is why you saw the price of Summer Strongboxes go through the roof, because there won't be any more. We will still have Christmas, Easter, and Halloween boxes, because we're going to keep having those 3 Mayhems. They've said so. But because the Summer Mayhem was canceled. There were no more Strongboxes. Here's the problem. When you're looking at loot, what do I always say? What do I always preach? What do I always try and get you guys to understand? Because I know it takes people a long time to get this concept. We're always going to lose money from a TT out versus TT in standpoint when hunting. We have to go after the markup. Why? Because MindArk has to be able to pay the bills. It has to pay the electric bill. They have to be able to keep the servers up. They have to be able to pay the employees. In order for them to do this, they have to give us back less TT value than we put out there. So if I spend 1,000 ped hunting, I'm not going to get back 1,000 ped or more. The vast majority of the time, except for maybe once in a rare blue moon, vast majority of the time, I fully expect if I'm putting out 1,000 ped in a hunt, I'm only going to get back 950 ped. MindArk is going to make 50 ped off of me, and they're going to use that money to pay the electric bill, pay the employees, keep the servers up, keep the game running. Because if they didn't, there would be no other way to pay those bills. The servers would go down, the electricity would get shut off, and the game would cease to exist. So knowing that and just realizing that is the reality of how it works and why it works that way, we have to go after markup. If we're going after markup, it's the only way we're going to close that gap, get back to even, and then hopefully have that wonderful profit thing in our pockets, right? Now, here's the problem with that. When they took away Summer Mayhem 2022, that meant no Summer Strongboxes. Well, Summer Strongboxes did not just drop inside Summer Mayhem. They also dropped from Summer Migration creatures. They dropped from Longtooth. They dropped from Eomon. And whenever they canceled Summer Mayhem and did away with Summer Strongboxes, that meant no Summer Strongboxes from Longtooth or Eomon. That was a very, very, very big source of the markup that you were going for. So when you were out hunting Longtooth, even the adolescents that only had 400 HP, they would occasionally, and it was rare, but they would occasionally drop a Summer Strongbox. Once you got to the young or higher, they dropped the Summer Strongboxes on a pretty regular basis. So knowing that we were losing that TT value by hunting Longtooth or hunting Eomon, we were not really that concerned because we were able to count on the Summer Strongboxes to help us make that value up. The markup on those Strongboxes was pretty good. So, just like with Mayhem, why do we do Mayhem? We don't do Mayhem to just lose a whole bunch of TT value. We do it because of the value of the boxes and the tokens, right? Same thing with Summer Migration. There's no tokens, but we did have the boxes until they took away Summer Mayhem, which took away the boxes. Personally, I think it would be a very wise move if MindArk brought back Summer Strongboxes and just let them drop from Longtooth and Eomon and made them a Summer Migration drop. You don't need the Mayhem to go with it. You could have the Summer Strongbox as part of the migration event. As of yet, they have not done that. They did not do it last year, which is why I boycotted the event entirely, and they have not said they're going to do it this year. So, unfortunately, that is the bad news. There is some good news, though. Now, the good news is not the unlimited items that drop from the biggest mobs. That's great news if you're lucky enough to get some of those items looted, but the chances of looting one of those items is 1 in a bajillion. The better news this year for players is I believe that MindArk plans to release a lot of 20th anniversary items during the migration. I think that the items we've seen be discovered and looted so far was just a little tickle to get us interested in Twin, and I think the vast majority of those items are going to be looted and discovered and duplicates looted during migration from the Eomon, from the biggest mobs in game. I think that they have deliberately set it up to be a ped drain and to reduce the liabilities to the players who they owe the most to, who are going to be those big hunters going after the Eomon. And I think in order to bait them into it, they're going to have those items being discovered at a much more higher frequency than you would really anticipate. Maybe not looted over and over as far as duplicates go at such a rate, but at least be discoverable at such a rate. And when you add that to all the other great stuff that Eomon dropped, it's going to make it very, very enticing to those bigger hunters. The other thing is the Codex rewards for both Eomon and Longtooth are pretty ridiculously good. And with the amount of money it takes to kill some of these creatures, to the difficulty of getting through some of those codex ranks, it should be. I think the last codex rank for Eomon before you begin the repeat has a TT value reward for skills for codex of over like 200 ped, which is wow. But look at how much you're going to have to cycle to get there. Look at how much it's going to cost you to finish that rank alone. So yeah, it probably should be well over 200 ped TT and skill reward. But Longtooth has a pretty ridiculously good skill reward too when you look at its codex profile. So because of that, it makes it more attractive because you're going to be getting such a more valuable reward, even though it's going to take some cycling, even though you're going to have some of that TT loss involved. Now, that said, is it worth the TT loss to just go after the codex skills? Absolutely not. But what do we have this year that we did not have last year? Unreal tokens. And that is why I will not be boycotting this year's summer migration. That is why this year I will be hunting Longtooth and working on my codex progression, is the Unreal tokens. Now, unfortunately, there is a couple of limiting factors here. Limiting factor number one is the fact that as these tokens have been looted, the supply of the tokens has increased, therefore the price of the tokens has started coming down. When we were first looting Unreal tokens back in January, the price of Unreal tokens was what, 20 to 23 ped a token? And now we're at somewhere like 12 to 13 ped a token. So because the supply has gone down and the demand has not really gone up, the price has started coming down. And as people are cycling more, hunting more, looting more during migration, I expect the price will probably continue to have a little bit more downward pressure on it. Obviously, it's not going to go to zero because of what the item is and what the item does and how it functions. However, I do think at some point we're going to find a floor value for these Unreal tokens, and that's just going to be kind of the price and range that it hovers in. It will become an item where the price stops fluctuating and a floor has kind of been set, so then the traders are able to easily buy them at price A, sell them at price B, and there's not really going to be a lot of negotiation or wiggle room in there. And I think that's probably going to happen. We're probably going to find that equilibrium during migration, given the sheer number of tokens that are probably going to be looted. But I will be looting them because those tokens being in the loot pool, that does affect our ability to get that sweet markup that we're after. It does affect our ability to close that gap with the TT returns that we're going to be losing, so MindArk can keep the lights on and pay the electric bills and the employees and keep the servers up. So as long as those tokens are dropping, I will be to some extent working on Longtooth. Now, I won't be going hard in the paint with it, and I'm going to be keeping an eye on the markup on the tokens, and I'm going to be keeping an eye on my TT returns. And if either of these things gets too far out of whack from what my comfort level is, I'm going to stop migration dead in its tracks and go do something else. I do have other goals I could be working on. I have other goals I would prefer to be working on. However, this is a once-a-year opportunity, so it kind of gets moved to the front of the line. So long as it's something that is working the way I want it to work, doing what I want it to do. Now, how could they fix this? How could they make this into an event where I would just more or less endlessly cycle it as many hours a day as I could? Very easy. Bring back summer Strongboxes and put them in the loot pool for Longtooth and Eomon. Very easy. That would be all they would have to do. And I think there are a lot of players that feel the same way, that will totally avoid it if they don't have the summer Strongboxes in the loot pool, but will go hard in the paint after it if they do have the summer Strongboxes in the loot pool. So that's on MindArk. The smart business move is simply add summer Strongboxes back, but as of yet they have not announced that they're going to be doing that. It's not something I see them doing this year. I think they're going to stick with the Unreal tokens only, and then I think depending on how things go over the next year, they might add them back in the future to drag those people who will only play if the summer Strongboxes are in the loot pool back into summer migration, since summer migration is the main event designed to reduce the amount of liabilities they owe the players, especially the largest players. But therein is part of the problem. The players that they're targeting for migration are some of the biggest players with the biggest bankrolls who MindArk has the most liabilities to, and they're not going after the ones that are strictly after the markup. They're going after the ones that are willing to take a gamble. So it's kind of by design doing what MindArk wants it to do, even if it isn't capturing the entire community in the process. So that being said, I'm not going to be avoiding it. I'm not going to be boycotting it. I will be participating. But guys, please proceed with caution. I don't like seeing anybody rage quit the game because they've had a bad couple of weeks or they've had a bad run or something didn't go as planned. So know what you're getting into. Be sure you understand how these kinds of things work, how to loot these kinds of items, the odds of looting these kinds of items. If you're going to be going after the biggest creatures, be sure you're not punching above your weight class. I love seeing people enjoy Entropia and have fun with it. I don't love seeing people get upset and rage quit. But I think we're going to see a lot of really cool gear get discovered, and I think that cool gear being discovered, those cool items being looted, are going to create even more markup opportunities for us later down the road. So guys, right now I'm going to leave it there, and I've got more content planned for you, some on planet, some off planet, in the coming days over the next couple of weeks. I do plan to be back on Cali by June 21st, by the start of migration. So I will be heading out fairly soon to make some more content for y'all, but I do plan to be back by the start of migration, and then from there we'll just kind of play it by ear because it's going to depend how migration goes. So for now, I'll leave it there. Sip, sip, smack, smack. Y'all know the rest, guys. Head over to earnped.com because when you earn, we earn. That is by far the best way you guys can help support us. Simply use the links on earnped.com to go to hideout.tv. Hideout will automatically add us as a redemption option for your hideout points. No additional effort needed. Guys, if you would, do me the favor that all us YouTubers ask you to do. Take the 1 second, it's absolutely free, and hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to subscribe to the channel and be notified when we get new content posted. You'll be the first to know. You'll stay up to date with everything. It will keep you better informed, and you'll be well aware of some of the best opportunities in game. Plus, it will help us out, and it's an easy, fast, free way you can help support us, and you only have to do it once. But guys, if you would, go a step further. And since it's free, and since you're watching the video, hit that thumbs up button, give the video a like, and help us counteract the haters that are out there simply waiting for us to post a video so they can hit dislike. Somebody famous said, you will always have 100 views before you have 100 likes because not everybody watching you is rooting for you. And that's extremely true. But the more important thing is when you do that, when you will do those 3 things for us, which are free and take no time at all, YouTube gives us more exposure. They put our videos in front of people that play PC games, MMOs, and RCE games, and a lot of times it's the first time the person's ever heard of Entropia. They watch the videos, they learn about the game, they start playing. Now they're part of the community, they're part of the economy. They may even buy something off you someday and you never even know it, but the only reason it's possible is because you hit those buttons for us today. So by supporting us, you support the game, the economy, but potentially also support yourself. So it's a huge, huge thing. It means a lot to us. We really appreciate every single like, every single sub, every single bell icon click. But guys, it also helps out all around. So please do it. Sip, sip, smack, smack. Y'all know the rest. Take care, Stevies.